I don't have pet peeves. I have major psychotic fucking hatreds, okay?
You mentioned something just a second ago about people believing that the earth is flat. Now, that's going back
serious, they do.
and I know you have mentioned to me on occasion about some of the emails you get from flat earthers that are just absolutely insane. Go ahead and share with us some of the nonsense that...
Well, you know what I noticed right away was look like a psyop and a very professionally done one. And I thought, well, okay, you people are trying to draw me into your crazy conspiracy because you want to discredit what I found about 9/11. Because I hate to say this, but, you know, if you're in the cockpit and you're, let's say, 42,000 feet, you actually do see the curvature of the planet. And so, but what I noticed is their recruiting is very professional. And right away I felt that it was a CIA psyop, a psychological operation to infiltrate and bring in anyone that is on to their BS, like 9/11, and discredit me. Because when you see the curve, you can't deny the curve. You know what I'm saying? And so if you believe the earth is flat, I'm so sorry for you. But that's just exactly how bad it's gotten with our media lying and being dishonest and pushing out just total crap.
So in other words, no matter how high you jump, you can't see the curve from Poughkeepsie.
No.
You got to be at 42,000 feet.
And you just can't, go up on a 1,800-foot mountain and take a look at it. You have got to be up there. But, I mean, how in the world can people possibly deny the International Space Station and shuttle launches and those kind of things? It's just the epitome of what's happened, and it's sad. People you really look stupid if you think that everything's a fraud and a fake.
Well, you mentioned the recruiting aspect, and it's always the same approach. It's not like, so you know that they've been almost trained to be able to...
That's why I saw it, because it happens to me a lot.
Yeah, and what is the approach, actually?
Well, it's kind of like, you seem like a smart woman. You're certainly not dumb enough to believe the earth is not flat. And it's really a sphere. Ha! What a dummy if you believe that. It's a put down if you believe the earth is round or the moon is round or any other planets that we see. Now, we have a Hubble telescope that's out there taking pictures. People think because the United Nations flag is flat and that there's got this weird symbol of the planets on a flat flag that means the earth is flat. It's like, well, that's one of the things
I always believe the UN.
Yeah.
Whenever they stand up and say something, I'm right.
They represent me, all right. Yeah, it's just crazy. And so it's really an interesting technique. It's like it's a subliminal, you're really stupid if you don't believe what I believe, and I believe the earth is flat. And I'm like, sayonara.
But if you say sayonara, they became very nasty.
Oh, they're very aggressive and mean and nasty. And they use the F-bomb on my Facebook page a lot if I don't believe it. As a matter of fact, I just posted something about it not too long ago, and I just kind of cleaned house because flat earth people are here to make us all look stupid. When we left before the break, we were talking about the Flat Earth Society, the Flat Earthers they're referred to. And I will never forget, when I was really glued to my television as a senior flight attendant at the time of 9/11, and I believe, I can't remember, it was George Bush or someone else, they started to, first they said, let's not get caught up in wild conspiracy theories, but someone along the line, not too far after 9/11 happened, referred to people that were questioning 9/11 as flat earthers. Remember that? And I thought, flat earthers? Well, that's weird because that's something that was going on in the 1500s, 1800s. And the people that started it were not the best people in society. So if you do a little research, just a wiki will help. Just do a little history research, and you can see that some of those people were pretty off the mark. And not the kind of person you'd want to have, let's just say, babysit your children, okay? Because they were pretty off the mark. And so, the history is really interesting, but one of the books that they have out, and this was written in 1981, because these people, and this is coming out of the 1800s now, and then some really deluded people in the 70s, and when you go look and see who they are and what they were a part of, it's pretty interesting. But the earth is not a ball. and gravity does not exist. And so, we were talking about the space shuttle, and we were talking about astronauts going up, and they were in a no gravity situation. You see them floating. Well, they train for that, physically train for that. When they come back from there, they actually have to. Now, I studied physiology, so your body goes through changes, even just being in a pressurized cabin in an airplane for 14 hours. Anybody that's ever gone from the United States to China in a jet, even if you're sitting there as a passenger eating and drinking and being merry and reading your book and watching movies, you're going to notice that your physical body goes through changes when you're in just a pressurized cabin like that for so long. Now, when these guys go up in the space shuttles and stuff, they're in a no gravity situation. But here we've got these flat earthers believing that the earth is not a ball and there is no such thing as gravity. So how do they explain when you drop something, it hits the floor? Oh, you don't know that, do you? I know Ramjet has got this look on his face like, are these people totally insane? Well, it kind of looks that way. But the thing that's really fascinating to me is their approach. You look like a smart woman, Rebekah, and so we would like you to join our team. And we don't believe the earth is a ball. We believe it's flat. And I'm thinking to myself, flat earth, now that's something, we're going way back to the 1500s here. And the technology is there. And how can you possibly deny it? But on the other hand, I have people that deny that an aluminum airplane cannot fly through a steel, aluminum, glass, and cement structure like the World Trade Center were, like a hot knife through butter. They're in denial. I've got a guy right now on my Facebook page who claims to work for Boeing or something that's just, I just posted a couple pictures of bird strikes and just completely ripping an aluminum airplane apart. Just by being, remember the Sully on the Hudson? That was a bird strike. It shut down the engines. And so luckily he had a river to land in, and he was an extremely good pilot. So, it's really interesting that people they go into this weird mindset. They don't want to think real. They don't want to be logical.
Well, the thing that I find is interesting with the flat earthers is that they have concocted a story for every scenario you present, much like the 9/11 truthers. This doesn't make sense to me. I'm speaking from a 9/11 truther standpoint, but I'm going to make some hairball theory and just pound everything into it. And that's what the flat earthers have done. And, you've got all kinds of examples of the fact that the earth is round and has always been round.
Well, it's funny.
It wasn't flat until
You were asking me
1492.
one day, how do these flat earth people, because they're constantly trying to recruit me, how do they explain the flights when we took the polar route? Why would we go the polar route? And there is an explanation out there that's so cockamamie that I was laughing so hard by the time they finished trying to explain their crazy conspiracy theory about why we go the polar route, because the earth is a ball and it's a shorter distance. If we went along the equator, we couldn't get from point A to point B, and that's why we go up over the pole. And I did that a lot. I remember having a man have a heart attack when we were over the North Pole, as close to the North Pole as they will let you fly. And we were in what we consider as no man's land. We can't land there and take the guy to a hospital. I was basically on my own. And so, I'm talking to the pilots. Where are we? Can we land? I've got this guy who's having a heart attack. And we were so far north that we were, hours from anywhere. And so luckily the guy managed to pull through on it. Okay. But why would we go up there? To endanger you in case something happens to you that we can't land? No, we go up there because it's a shorter route. And I remember when we started to be able to fly up closer and over Russia after the Korean airline shoot down and all of those things. And so we were able to do stuff like that. We were able to go from New York to Tokyo nonstop because we got the routes to go up over, the further north like that because it's a shorter distance.
Well, my favorite question is if you take off from San Francisco and fly 22,000 miles all the way around, you end up back in San Francisco. How do you explain that if it's a flat earth?
Yeah, well, you got to listen to the videos. It's funny.
I know, and it is funny.
It is.
It's like you fly the backside that's black.
Yeah, it's really weird.
That's when it's dark outside.
Yeah, it is just such nonsense. They actually, some of these people, by the way, some of the people that in the 1800s and in the 1970s and 80s in the United States actually got involved with some weird far out religion, like the Covenant of something or other church. They were not associated with a normal established church. They created their own church, and so they read things in there like firmament means that it's a dome, or just crazy. So they try to bring this stuff. Well, you don't even believe in the Bible then, because it says in the Bible the Earth is flat. Well, let me tell you how long ago that Bible was written. They didn't have the Hubble Space Telescope then. They didn't have an International Space Station. And I mean, what to me is the saddest part about it is a reflection on how dumbed down our society is, and the fact that we've been lied to so much by the corporate media or the government-controlled, CIA-controlled media, that people don't believe something even if it's right in front of their face. I mean, it's like somebody is accusing a man in Australia of being me. I mean, come on.
Well, it's like the recoil. For every action, there's an equal and opposite reaction, and this is the equal and opposite reaction. And both of them are out there, kind of on the extremes. And it's just a little hard to deal with. But what I find fascinating is how many people contact you. Yeah. And want to persuade you to join their flat Earth theory.
Yeah. Well, and they're not the only conspiracy. I mean, I did an interview with some weird guy that kept turning things around and trying to get me to talk about Sandy Hook and Boston bombing and all kinds of things. And I said, I'm an airline professional. I'm a very professional straight shooter. I'm a researcher. I haven't had time or a desire to look in depth enough for me to be able to discuss your conspiracy. So don't keep bringing me into those. Well, later on, I found out he was a Christian Zionist, and what he was trying to do was paint me as a kook, a conspiracy theory person. And that's one of the things that happened to me with Coast to Coast. I was basically, the guy hadn't read the book. He didn't know what I'd uncovered. But now I've got 2 books out. I've got eyewitnesses coming out of the woodwork. I've got military people coming on board, air traffic controllers, special ops people, you name it. And people are coming forward to help and to help get the truth out. I'm not going to sit and argue, because I don't have an argument. I have a book and I have facts, and I have all of these facts on government data. So, and you can go argue with the government if you want, but I mean, there are people that are arguing that the Earth is not round. So they will argue about anything, I guess. I mean, you just can't waste your time with it. This is crazy.
Sounds like my ex-wife.
Yeah, poor woman. So, it's just, to me, I say it's very sad that our country has been dumbed down to the point where people don't realize, they don't even believe what's in front of their face. They can reach out and touch something and turn around and say it's a fraud, it's a fake, it's not there, it's not real. Like the people that say that people that didn't jump out of the towers were real, they were dummies. Who was in the towers shoving the dummies out the window because they got killed? I mean, that's just nonsense that people think like that. But there's so much of that. And I think that those people from the very get-go on 9/11 for sure, and probably with Sandy Hook and Boston bombing and everywhere else, these nut jobs have come out to make anybody that looks closer that look like a nut job, like they are.
Well, that's exactly right.
Conspiracy
exactly right.
And discredit me, because when you see the curve, you can't deny the curve. You know what I'm saying? And so if you believe the Earth is flat, I'm so sorry for you. But that's just exactly how bad it's gotten with our media lying and being dishonest and pushing out just total crap.
So in other words, no matter how high you jump, you can't see the curve from Poughkeepsie.
No.
You got to be at 42,000 feet.
And you just can't, go up on a 1,800-foot mountain and take a look at it. You have got to be up there. But, I mean, how in the world can people possibly deny the International Space Station and shuttle launches and those kind of things. It's just the epitome of what's happened, and it's.
Go ahead and share with us some of the nonsense that.
Well, you know what I noticed right away was look like a psyop and a very professionally done one, and I thought, well, okay, you people are trying to draw me into your crazy conspiracy because you want to discredit what I found about 9/11 because. I hate to say this, but, if you're in the cockpit and you're, let's say, 42,000 feet, you actually do see the curvature of the planet. And so, but what I noticed is their recruiting is very professional. And right away I felt that it was a CIA psyop, a psychological operation to infiltrate and bring in anyone that is on to their BS, like 9/11.
Pet peeves. I have major psychotic fucking hatreds, okay?
You mentioned something just a second ago about people believing that the earth is flat. Now, that's going back
serious, they do.
and I know you have mentioned to me on occasion about some of the emails you get from flat earthers that are just absolutely insane.